One Roman emperor declared war on the ocean and ordered his soldiers to collect seashells as spoils of war. Another built a golden palace on the ashes of his own burned city, while singing opera to a crowd that literally wasn't allowed to leave. And then there was the 14-year-old who brought a giant black rock to the Senate and suffocated his dinner guests under a mountain of rose petals. How did the world's greatest empire survive a streak of pure lunatics? To figure that out, we have to rewind all the way back to 37 AD, when a 24-year-old named Caligula took the throne and set the standard for imperial madness. Let's start at the beginning. Caligula didn't start out insane. In fact, when he became emperor, everyone loved him. He lowered taxes, gave out bonuses, and threw massive party festivals. But 6 months in, Caligula fell horribly ill with a brain fever. He survived, but his mind definitely didn't. He suddenly declared himself a living god. He replaced heads on statues of Jupiter with his own face. And then he realized something terrible. He had completely drained the Roman treasury. So how do you fix a budget crisis when you're an absolute monarch? Simple. You accuse wealthy senators of treason, execute them, and seize all their gold. Caligula, thanks for the donation, Senator. Senator, wait. I didn't donate anything. Caligula, guards, remove his head. Next came his infamous military campaign against Great Britain. He marched thousands of legionnaires all the way to the French coast. And when they arrived at the English Channel, Caligula got cold feet. Instead of crossing the sea, he declared war on Neptune, god of the ocean. He commanded his troops to stab the waves with their spears, and ordered them to fill their helmets and bags with seashells as spoils of the ocean. He then marched back to Rome, parading his bags of clams like he had conquered Britain. Then came his ultimate political statement, making his favorite horse a senator. Incitatus was given a marble stall, an ivory manger, and his own team of servants. By 41 AD, the Praetorian Guard finally decided enough was enough. They cornered Caligula in a narrow palace hallway and ended his 4-year reign. If Rome thought the madness was over, they were dead wrong. Enter Nero, a 16-year-old theater kid thrust into absolute power. At first, his advisors Seneca and his mother Agrippina pulled the strings. Nero didn't like being controlled, so he had his own mother executed. With total control, Nero ignored politics and focused on his true passion, singing. He hosted 6-hour concert marathons where no one was allowed to leave. People literally faked their own deaths just to get carried out by medics. Then came the night of July 18, 64 AD, when a massive fire broke out near the Circus Maximus and burned for 6 days. Legend says Nero played the lyre while watching Rome burn. While that might be exaggerated, what he did next made everyone furious. He seized 200 acres of burned city land to build a massive luxury palace. To deflect blame, he pointed his finger at a brand new religious group, Christians. Eventually, the armies revolted, and Nero fled the city in panic. As guards broke down his door, Nero famously uttered his last dramatic words, "Nero, what a great artist dies in me." His death plunged Rome into chaos, triggering 4 different emperors in a single year. Fast forward a century to 180 AD. And enter Commodus. He was the son of Marcus Aurelius, the wisest, most respected philosopher king. Unfortunately, genius isn't hereditary. Commodus had zero interest in governing the empire. He just wanted to be Hercules. He insisted on fighting as a gladiator in the Colosseum over 700 times. To ensure he never lost, he fought disabled citizens and bound animals. And to make matters worse, he charged the city a massive fee every time he fought. Then came the ultimate ego trip, renaming Rome after himself. He also renamed all 12 months of the year after his official titles. Senators sat through his speeches nodding, terrified for their lives. By 192 AD, his inner circle realized they were next on his execution list. They poisoned his wine, but Commodus vomited it up. So they hired his personal wrestler, Narcissus, to strangle him in his bath. And just like that, the Antonine dynasty was over. If you thought Commodus was weird, wait until you meet Elagabalus in 218 AD. At just 14 years old, this Syrian high priest inherited the entire Roman world. He didn't care about Rome's traditions, he cared about his sun god, Elagabalus. He dragged a massive, sacred black meteorite into the heart of the Senate. He even tried to replace Jupiter as the top god of Rome with his own sun rock. His parties were legendary for being completely unhinged. He once rigged a dinner party to release a deluge of rose petals on his guests. The petals were so deep that some guests literally suffocated before they could find the door. By 222 AD, his own grandmother decided the boy had to go. She convinced the Praetorian Guard to assassinate him and his mother. Rome had survived 4 lunatics, but the worst was yet to come. Welcome to the crisis of the 3rd century, where everything fell apart. Between 235 and 284 AD, Rome saw 26 different emperors take the throne. Almost every single one was murdered by their own soldiers. The empire was split into 3 pieces as rival generals fought for control. It seemed like the end of the world for Rome. But then, a soldier named Diocletian rose to power in 284 AD. He did the unthinkable. he split the empire in half to make it manageable. He created the Tetrarchy, or Rule of Four. It was a desperate experiment, but it brought 20 years of peace. Rome had survived its worst leaders and its darkest century, but the real end of the empire was just over the horizon. Which of these imperial madmen do you think was the absolute worst? Let me know down in the comments who you'd least want as your boss. If you enjoyed this fast-paced history breakdown, slam that like button, and subscribe for more absurd history explained simply. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.